Hello everyone and welcome to Roller Coaster Basics number 1. Where here I'm going to introduce to you what the roller coaster project is, what you need to do if you really want to be like all the other 8th grade classes before you and build a proper roller coaster, and then give you a little hint on how to get started. These video lessons will help you build. It would be something that I would do in class. Normally in class I would give the basic instructions. It'd take about a class period and a half to show everything, and then I would build a roller coaster along with you in class, and so that you can see and ask questions on how to do it. Obviously that's not going to be as easy this time, so what I'm going to do is give you some instructional videos on how to do this, and then I am going to build a roller coaster and kind of videotape as I go some of the things that I am doing to kind of help you along. What you'll need for roller coasters, and if you are following the rules of roller coaster building, you will only use file folders, masking tape, no other kind of tape, no duct tape, no scotch tape, only masking tape. You need a pair of scissors to cut the file folders, and you'll need a piece of cardboard to build, or something. You could use any kind of board. You just need some kind of platform on which you're going to tape your supports and your roller coaster on. Like I said in my Zoom session, you could build it on a tabletop. You could tape things down on any flat surface. You could build it on the floor. You will have to tape it down though. The file folders don't tend to, the tubes and everything that we build don't tend to hold together all by themselves. At least not at first. If you build your structure, strong enough, it will eventually hold by itself. But you want to give something firm, and you want to be, most of the time, unless you've got a designated spot that's not going to be moved for a couple weeks, most of the time you want to be able to move it out of the way you can. So building it on a piece of cardboard or a board, this is not important as to what it is. It's just something flat to build it on. Okay? So here are some things that you need to know about roller coasters. First thing you want to do is you want to build supports. So one of the ways of building supports is this. Oh, here, let me give you a little hint here, because I'm going to need to do this. When you're building on your own, sometimes it's hard to get tape when you need it. So what I like to do is I like to tear off pieces of tape that I can have available for me, because as I'm building, and normally I build it by myself. Now this is not as important for people who are building with partners, because you can have one person tear off a piece of tape while another person builds. But when you're building by yourself, you can't hold something and tear off a piece of tape at once. So putting pieces of tape out so that you're ready to get one if you need it. And then here's the key. Here's the way I like to build supports. So you take a file folder and you roll it together. Then you can tape it like this. And now you've got a single support. But you're going to want it tall, because you're going to drop your roller, you're going to drop your marble, and it's going to go around. If it's really short, then it doesn't have very much height, and it's not going to roll for very long. The goal for the roller coaster, and I think the #1 goal for the roller coaster should be making your marble go as long as possible. Normally I would give points for maneuvers. I give if it did a loop-to-loop or a jump or whatever. And we'll talk about those at a later time. But I think the #1 goal should be, I'm going to start it and I'm going to get it to roll and go as long as possible. So you want to get it started up high. And careful not to start it too high, because then it becomes unstable if you're not careful. So here's one tube. Now you want to make something higher. So here's the way I would do it. Is I would then get a second file folder, and I would roll it tight, and then I would stick the end in the other end like this, And then I could tape it like this. And then I could tape it like so it doesn't come out here. And I end up with another support. I got another support. Now I can add more support to this. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, going around more than once does not help. If you wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap, all you're doing is wasting tape. You do want to go around at least once, because the tape, see now that's together, I can get my masking tape out. The tape itself will hold better if it's on itself. So if you go around and use tape around, so if I go here and I'm going to tape completely around until it comes back on itself, and if I do that, that will not come off. If I do this, where it's just a little bit of tape, it will come off eventually. Masking tape eventually wears out, and the tension will cause it to break. So there's 2 tubes. And I usually would make, mine would be 3 tubes tall. It would depend, you did have to in science class keep it on the tabletop, so it could, 3 tubes was about as tall as you can get it. At your house you can make it as tall as you want it, I suppose. That's the case. Now, to help get the tube, because you're going to want to put the tube on the table and get it to like stick, I would cut the tube here, and then you can fold out the tabs like so, and then you can tape down the tube and that'll give you a start for the basis. Now this will never hold, it'll fall down. So we're eventually going to want to put tubes and tie that together, and that'll be in the next video that I'm talking about, but that'll get you started on the support. You want to build a good support that you can then tape your track on. Okay, so building a good support will then take your track on. So I'm going to take this off, and then I'm going to give you a real quick lesson, because I know some of you are going to want to know, well, how in the heck can you build a track with file folders? Well, let me show you how I would do it. Once again, you don't have to do it like I'm doing. If you can come up with another way, that's fine. Notice I took the file folder longwise. I got a strip. And then on that strip, I am going to fold up the edge. And when I fold up the edge on one side, and then I'm going to fold up the edge on the other side. And you'll notice now I have a piece of track. Now marble will roll down this track. And this is actually pretty structural. There are some people that make V's, like this, take the strip and make the V. But the trouble with the V is that there's a lot of friction on that marble. Now maybe you want to do that to slow things down, but I find that this method, and don't make these too wide because the marble then bounces around a lot, but I find that this will indeed take a marble, and I can tilt it on my support. And once again, you'll see this as I go through one video lesson after another. But that's a way to build a track. Now, just to give you a little hint, here's up and down. So say I want to make a hill. So I want it to go down and back up again. So if I take, and notice I'm not cutting all the way through the track, I'm just cutting the rail. And so I'm going to cut the rail here. And when I cut the rail, now I can tilt it. And then I would take my tape, and I would tape it in here. Once I get it to where I want it to go, then I can tape it in here. And then it holds. So now I've got a hill. Well, if I want to make a turn, if I want to make a turn, I'm going to cut through the track all the way to the far rail. So I'm going to cut all the way to the far rail. And I can cut this as thick or thin as I want. And then you notice that the track can turn. And then I can tape and make the turn. So now I got my track to turn. So now the ball can turn and go up, or it can come down and turn. So that's just a couple of quick things to get you thinking about roller coasters and how you're going to do that. We will, and I will be, in my basic roller coaster basic videos, I will be going through and building some and showing you how this all works. But hopefully that'll get you thinking, how am I going to do this? Okay, and stay tuned for the next roller coaster video.